Framed, part 24, the final part. 10th of July. Cars today, taxi. Jaguar XJ 4.2 V8 Sovereign, Barry and Tone. Weather, sunshine. Note, zebras are improbable, not impossible. One reason I don't believe that anyone can do a perfect crime is because plans just never work. Because things just keep happening. Even Vincenzo Ferrugia got caught in the end. Look at Minnie. She had plan A, then she had to go to plan B, and that didn't work either. And look at me, I sat up all night planning what to do when Barry and Tone came. Then I heard a car roll onto the forecourt. First thing. I knew it would be them. I felt sick, but I got out of bed and went down to the front door. I didn't know what I was going to do. I just knew it had to be me and not Mam that did it. I opened the door. And it wasn't them. It wasn't a Jaguar. It was a Mondeo, top speed 121 miles per hour. The first thing I noticed was that there was a zebra in the front passenger seat. One of those big fluffy toy ones. The back passenger side door opened, and Dad stepped out and paid the man, and the taxi drove off. I won't go on about it, he didn't say much. He nodded at the zebra and said, "That's for Max. He's still asleep." We won't wake him then. So we had a bit of a kick around till the others woke up. While we all had breakfast together, Max played with the zebra. He pushed it around the floor, making brum brum noises. Dad said, "How's it all been?" I said, "We've had a few problems with the insurance, but I've sorted them out." Mum looked at me. I said I'd tell her later. "Oh, and me and Marie can do oil changes now." Mum said, "What brought you home?" I was in Harlech for a while, then I decided to move on. I went to look at the new barrier. I was in London. I heard about this picture at the National Gallery that's something to do with Manners. I went to see it, and it sort of persuaded me. Maybe you've never seen Marie's picture. I hadn't seen it myself at the time. I've seen it since on our wall. Everyone says it looked even better in the National Gallery, where it was the only picture. As Dad says, they didn't need any other pictures. If you got that on your wall, what else could you want to look at? The picture is 35 Polaroids of Max. They're all laid out next to each other, like words on a page, and they've got a date in the bottom left corner. There's one for each day, for 35 days. They all look pretty much the same, except in the first ones he's got this long curly baby hair, which we've forgotten about. At the beginning he's a baby. By the end he's a little boy. If you step back, they look like 35 pictures all the same. If you get close and look carefully, you can see the differences. You think you can see time changing his face. I suppose if you were Dad, you'd think it was a picture that showed you what you were missing. Anyway, it was very popular, especially with us. Straight after breakfast, we started unpacking the boxes, because we weren't going to leave Manon now. I was with Dad when the Jaguar turned up and Barry and Tone got out. "Can I help you?" said Dad. I was thinking. My dad was a bandit. He was on the run, but now he's home. What are they going to do to him? They explained that there had been some trouble and they had this incriminating photograph of his children with a valuable painting. They showed him the Polaroid. Dad laughed, then went indoors and came out with the painting by numbers of sunflowers. He held it up to them. "Painting by numbers," he said. £3 at Barla Sea Scouts car boot sale. I think, gents, you have been taken for a ride." Barry and Tone looked uncomfortable. Tone looked at me and said, "They took £20 off us." Dad looked surprised. He said, "That doesn't sound like them." Barry said, "That's beside the point. We're here to talk about the Mini Cooper." "Oh yes," said Dad. "That was it. Now they were really going to arrest him for trying to defraud the insurance. It went missing and it was recovered." "There's a stroke of luck then," said Dad. "Any damage?" "None whatsoever," said Dad. "Thinking of selling it on eBay?" "Don't do that," said Tone. Dad looked at him. "Why shouldn't I?" he said. "Barry wants to buy it," said Tone. "I've always wanted one of them," said Barry, "ever since I saw the Italian job." "Right," said Dad. "That's good. That's very good." And it was very good. It was the best thing ever. Dad said he could get £5 for it on eBay. Barry said he didn't want to pay that much, but he could pay cash there and then if the price was right. So they talked about prices for ages while Barry kept walking round and round looking at the tyres. "Bit worn on the inside front passenger side," he said. "Makes me worry about the tracking." Dad opened the driver's door, and that's when Barry saw that the indicator arm had a little light on the end that flashed on and off. "Oh," he said, "it's got the original thingy. Let's just take it." So they did. Barry handed Dad what looked like a triple-decker BLT made out of cash. Then he said, "Hold on." And he took a £20 note off the top of the pile and said, "That's what your kids took off us. I'm having that back." Then Barry jumped in and started it up. The first thing he did was put the indicators on and giggle at them. Then off they went. I stood on the little wall and watched the two cars go all the way down the Blaenau Road, B5565. Every now and then the indicator on the Mini would randomly signal right or left, but the car just kept going till it was gone. "I hope they're insured," said Dad with a smile. Then he held up a wad of money and said, "We have now generated a small capital sum that we can invest in our business." which is what we did, and soon everything was fixed, which is exactly what my dad is good at, fixing things. 22nd of August, menu, the big picture, 2 sausages, bacon, egg, black pudding, tomatoes, toast, the still life, vegetarian option, tomatoes, beans, egg, mushroom toast, the sketch, sausage or bacon toasty with coffee, the collage, collection of any 5 items with coffee, Welsh lamb casserole with barley, Welsh rarebit, selection of cakes and coffees, takeaway sales, Miss Standard, 2 Twixes and an FT. Note, no one likes barley. We are no longer just the Snowdonia Oasis Auto Marvel and Copier Centre. We are now also a cafe, Manord's premier indoor attraction. Minnie wanted us to be called the Bandits Hideaway, but she was outvoted. We're called the Masterpiece Cafe. We still keep a petrol log, but Mam's in charge of that now. I'm more involved in the menus. The lunch menu changes daily. I write it up in the petrol log and put some notes about it. For instance, no one likes barley, so everyone had Welsh rarebit, which was a problem as we had to make each one separately, whereas the stew was in a big stock pot. I remember we had to do 20 Welsh rarebits because this is the day the paintings went back to the National Gallery. All the vans parked up behind the gate and all the drivers came in for lunch. Even Lester came in and had poached eggs on toast. He said he didn't eat eggs. We solved the mystery of why Michelangelo never laid any eggs, by the way. She was a bloke hen. A cockerel. And we solved the mystery of why Donatello stopped laying. She'd had half a dozen little white chicks. We showed them to Lester and asked him to name them. He said, "What about Splinter and April and Shredder?" And I'm afraid I can't think of any more. I said, "Okay, Splinter, Shredder, April, Renoir, Monet and Masses." Later that day we walked up to the top to get some sunshine. The barbed wire fence had gone. One of the Technodrones was still there, but it was empty now. You could go right into the quarry. We walked all the way down into the big gallery and turned the lights on. It was empty. A big empty space where all the paintings had been. On the way down I stopped and showed Mam the drawing scratched on the boulder. She looked at the picture of the 2 women hidden under the moss and said, "Blimey, you know who they are, don't you?" And she scrabbled around under the moss, and sure enough, right at the top of the boulder, someone had written 2 names. Then Dad went and got Miss Elsa and Miss Edna and brought them over to the boulder and showed them the drawing and the writing. Elsa and Edna, it said, turning heads. Because the drawing was scratched into rock, Elsa could feel the shape of it, which she could never do with a painting. Edna put Elsa's fingers in the groove for her and helped her move them around the scratches. A big smile spread across Elsa's face, because it was a picture of her all that time ago when she was pretty, and her dad must have drawn it, thinking of his girls on a cold day when he was supposed to be cutting slate. And here it was, still after all that time, a moment that was never going to go away. If you ever feel like trying the crispy choc constables in the Masterpiece Cafe, it's easy enough to find now. Just follow the signs for Manord on the A496 and keep going till the road ends. Lots of people do. We're so busy Dad's built a conservatory extension. It's called The Gallery. It's got Marie's picture on the wall and one of the panels from the Elvis murals, the one of him in Jailhouse Rock, and our painting by numbers sunflowers, and an exceptional view of the mountain. The end.